Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, Hare Krishna. So Ghanashyam Prabhu asked me to start the next chapter, which is of Madhya Lila, which is chapter 24, titled The 61 Explanations of the Atma Rama verse. So we're just towards the end of Madhya Lila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking with Srila Sanatana Goswami, and is just coming to the end of the conversation. So Ghanashyam Prabhu, he covered, I think he got towards the end of the last chapter, so he just asked me to start the new chapter. So we'll start from Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text number 1. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksulmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, text number 1 of chapter 24, Madhya Lila. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who acted as the eastern horizon, where the sun of the Atma Rama verse rose. He manifested its rays in the form of different meanings, and thus eradicated the darkness of the mature world. May he protect the universe. Text 2. All glories to Lord Chaitanya, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Thereafter, Sanatana Goswami clasped the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and humbly submitted the following petition. Text 4. Sanatana Goswami said, My Lord, I have heard that previously at the home of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you explained the Atma Rama verse in 18 different ways. So Sanatana Goswami is referring to an incident that took place when Mahaprabhu, he first came to Jagannath Puri, if you remember. So when Mahaprabhu first arrived at Jagannath Puri, he took darshan of Lord Jagannath, he immediately goes into ecstasy, and then he becomes unconscious. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he takes Mahaprabhu to his house, and then all the other followers of Mahaprabhu, they come to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house and they start doing kirtan. And then while hearing Hari Kirtan, then Mahaprabhu, he comes back to consciousness. And it was during this time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he started conversing with Mahaprabhu. Initially, he was preaching to Mahaprabhu about Mayavad philosophy, and then later on, Mahaprabhu, during the whole time, Mahaprabhu was just being quiet, he wasn't saying anything. And finally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked, for so many days, you've just been hearing me talk, but you haven't mentioned a single word, you haven't said anything, you haven't asked any questions. Have you been understanding everything, or was something unclear? And then Mahaprabhu, he explains that actually the understanding of the Vedanta Sutra, it's as clear as the sun, but your explanations are just like clouds covering the bright sun. So Mahaprabhu indirectly was telling him that actually, your explanations of the Shastras, the conclusion of all the Shastras, is just bewildering and confusing. You're not giving the direct meaning. And then Mahaprabhu, from his side, he starts giving the direct meaning, explanation of Vedanta Sutra. And during that conversation, upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's request, Mahaprabhu, he explained this famous Atma Rama verse, which comes in the Bhagavatam. It's Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 10. So this is known as the famous Atma Rama verse. And Mahaprabhu, he explained this famous verse called the Atma Rama verse in 18 different ways. So Mahaprabhu gave 18 different proper explanations of this verse to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sanatana Goswami, he had heard about this. So now Sanatana Goswami, in great humility, he's coming to Mahaprabhu, he's grabbing his lotus feet, and by clasping his lotus feet, Sanatana Goswami is very humbly begging that, I've heard previously that to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you explained this very nice verse, famous verse of the Bhagavatam, the Atma Rama verse, in 18 different ways. Can you please also tell me the different explanations of this nice verse from the Bhagavatam? So very humbly, Sanatana Goswami, he's putting forward this question to Mahaprabhu. And that's why this chapter is titled Explanations of the Atma Rama verse. Now, Mahaprabhu will give all of these different explanations to Sanatana Goswami. Text number 5. Those who are self-satisfied and unattracted by external material desires are also attracted to the loving service of Sri Krishna, whose qualities are transcendental and whose activities are wonderful. Hari, the personality Godhead, is called Krishna because he has such transcendentally attractive features. So this is the translation to the Atma Rama verse. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.10. So the Sanskrit goes like this. Atma Ramascha munayo nigranta api urukrame kurvanti ahitu kim bhaktim itam bhuta guno hari. So this is the famous verse of the Bhagavatam which Mahaprabhu gave 18 different explanations to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And now Sanatana Goswami, he is very humbly begging the Lord that, can you please also tell me the different explanations of this verse. Text number 6. I have heard this wonderful story and I am therefore very inquisitive to hear your explanation again. If you would kindly repeat it, I would be very pleased to hear. Text number 7. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I am one madman and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is another. Therefore he took my words to be the truth. So we see on one side Sanatana Goswami's humility. The way he's asking the question is he's first falling at Mahaprabhu's feet, clasping his lotus feet and then begging, I've heard that previously you gave a nice explanation on this verse from the Bhagavatam. If you think it's okay, can you please also tell me the meaning of this verse from the Bhagavatam? So you see Sanatana Goswami with such proper humility approaching Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu from his side, what is he saying? That actually, I'm just a madman. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's also another madman. And, one madman, he's just glorifying another madman. So actually, I'm not so great. I'm just a crazy person. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's also a madman just like me. I just spoke some philosophy. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was just glorifying another madman's work. So don't take it so seriously. So like this, Mahaprabhu, he's deflecting the praise away from him. So you see from both sides, Vaishnava humility being demonstrated. On one side, Sanatana Goswami, he's showing the mood in how a disciple or a student should inquire questions from the spiritual master, should take guidance. On the other side, you see Mahaprabhu, when any praise or glorification is coming, how one should deflect it and not take it to heart. So we'll go next text number 8. So this is again Mahaprabhu continuing on. First Mahaprabhu is saying, I am one madman and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is another madman. Therefore he took my words to be the truth. Text 8. I do not recall what I spoke in that connection, but if something comes to my mind due to association with you, I shall explain it. So now Mahaprabhu is saying that I can't remember all those explanations, those 18 different explanations I gave to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but still because you're asking, I will try my best to explain the meaning of this famous verse of the Bhagavatam. And how shall I be able to do it? Mahaprabhu is saying, by the strength of your association, I will try my best. So again, Mahaprabhu is showing Vaishnava humility. You'll see this more in the next text. I'll read the next text number 9. Generally, by myself, I cannot give any explanation. But by the strength of your association, something may manifest itself. So again, Mahaprabhu is saying that normally, I'm just a fool, I'm just a madman. I don't have any intelligence, I don't have any knowledge. I don't know the Bhagavatam so deeply. Normally speaking, in day-to-day life, I won't be able to give such nice explanations on this verse of the Bhagavatam or in any verse of the Bhagavatam. But what Mahaprabhu is saying is, generally by myself, I cannot give any explanation. So again, Mahaprabhu, what is the identity he's giving to himself? That I'm just a fool, I can't properly explain Bhagavatam. But Mahaprabhu is saying, generally by myself, I cannot give any explanation, but by the strength of your association, something may manifest itself. So Mahaprabhu is saying, in general, I don't know much, but because you're here, by the strength of your Vaishnava association, I may be empowered to speak something. I may be empowered to properly glorify Srimad Bhagavatam, properly glorify this famous verse of the Bhagavatam. So again, Mahaprabhu, from his side, is demonstrating the mood, the consciousness of a Vaishnava. He always understands his dependency, not only on the Supreme Lord, but he also understands his dependency on the other Vaishnavas. So we all understand, that without Krishna's will, without Krishna's sanction, without Krishna's blessings, we can't do anything. To do any service, to be successful in anything, we need Sri Sri Radha Gopinath's blessings, we need their empowerment. But in this section, Mahaprabhu is showing that not only are we dependent on the Supreme Lord's mercy, but we're also dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So just like by the empowerment of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, ordinarily we might be dumb, stupid, not be able to do anything nicely, but by the strength of Sri Sri Radha Gopinath, we can do something nice. We can do something very good. So in the same way, Mahaprabhu is saying, ordinarily I don't know much, but because you're here present with me, by the strength of your Sangha, by the strength of your Vaishnava association, I may be empowered to properly, or to some extent, glorify this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So again, from this section, we can learn this amazing humility of Sanatana Goswami and also of Mahaprabhu. The attitude, the mood, the consciousness, the heart of a Vaishnava is being demonstrated by Mahaprabhu and also by Sanatana Goswami. And this theme you'll see throughout Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta is just full of pastimes of Mahaprabhu and his associates. And the whole CC is just conversations between Mahaprabhu and his associates. And when we look deeply into these conversations between Mahaprabhu and the other Vaishnavas, between the other Vaishnavas conversing, interacting between themselves, we get to learn so much about Vaishnava etiquette, Vaishnava mood, Vaishnava humility, all these amazing things that we can take inspiration from and try and apply in our lives. Okay, we'll go to text 10. Okay, now Mahaprabhu will start his explanations on this particular verse of the Bhagavatam, the famous Atma Rama Sloka, which comes in the first canto, text number 7. Chapter number 7, text number 10. So to give you a bit of context, this Atma Rama verse comes during the description of Sukadeva Goswami. And Bhagavatam explains how Sukadeva Goswami, he was Atma Rama, he was already a liberated soul. But then Bhagavatam also explains that although he was a liberated soul, he got attracted to Krishna, he got attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam. So then the question comes up, how is it that someone is liberated? He's already attained perfection. He's already a liberated soul. So how come someone who is liberated is getting attracted to something else? He's already at the top. How is he getting attracted to something else? How is he getting attracted to Srimad Bhagavatam? So in response to that, this Atma Rama verse is spoken in the first canto, chapter 7, text number 10. And this verse is basically saying that Krishna is so attractive that he even attracts the Atma Ramas. Even those liberated souls who are Atma Rama, who take pleasure within, who don't seek pleasure from external things, even those great liberated souls who are Atma Ramas, who take pleasure in the self, Krishna is so attractive, he even attracts them. What to speak of them? In CC it's explained that Krishna, he even attracts the other avatars. Balaram, he gets attracted to Krishna. Shirodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Mahavishnu, they get attracted to Krishna. Like in end of Krishna book is that famous pastime how Mahavishnu, he wanted to take darshan of Krishna, but he couldn't because Krishna's sanction wasn't there for him to come to Dwarka. So Mahavishnu, he creates this whole scene by stealing the sons of a particular Brahmana. And then Krishna himself, along with Arjuna, come to Mahavishnu Loka. And then Mahavishnu explains that, yes, it was me who stole all the babies of this Brahmana, and I did this because I wanted to take your darshan, Krishna. I always had this deep desire to get darshan of you, Krishna, so that's why I did this whole pastime. So even Mahavishnu is attracted to Krishna, Lakshmi Devi, all the goddesses of fortune, even Balaram himself. So all the avatars of the Lord, even they are attracted to Krishna. What to speak of them? Caitanya Caritamrta explains that even Krishna himself, he gets attracted to himself. So this Atma Rama verse was spoken in this context when the Bhagavatam was giving. So when Bhagavatam is answering this question, how is it that Sukadeva Goswami, although he's an Atma Rama, although he's already self-satisfied, he's being getting allured by something else. So in response to that, this Atma Rama verse is spoken. That Krishna is so attractive that even those souls who are liberated, even those souls who are Atma Ramas, who take pleasure in the soul, even they get attracted. Even they get allured by Krishna's beauty, by Krishna's qualities, pastimes, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now being requested by Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu will answer Srila Sanatana Goswami's question. So from this also we see that when a Vaishnava is asking us something from us, requesting something from us, from our side we can show humility and say, okay, I'm fallen, I can't do this. But to be of proper service to that Vaishnava, because that Vaishnava is requesting something of us. Can you please do this for me, or can you please help me with this? If we just be humble and say, oh, I'm fallen, I can't do this, we're not actually properly serving that Vaishnava. So Mahaprabhu, although he's showing humility, at the same time, he's fulfilling the request. He's fulfilling the request which is being begged for him by Sanatana Goswami. He's not just saying, okay, I am a fool, I don't know anything, sorry, I can't tell you anything, I don't know anything about Bhagavatam. No, he's still answering the question, which we'll see now. Not only will Mahaprabhu give 18 explanations of this verse like he did to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but Mahaprabhu will give much more. To Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Mahaprabhu gave 18 different explanations on this verse, but now to Srila Sanatana Goswami, he will give 64 different explanations on this same verse. So Mahaprabhu is demonstrating humility, proper consciousness, but at the same time he's doing the service which is being asked of him by another Vaishnava. So say a particular Vaishnava comes to us and requests us, Prabhu, we need some help, in the kitchen, or we need some help in cleaning the temple. If we just act humble and say, oh, Prabhu, I'm very fallen, I'm not qualified to do this service, then that's not actual humility, because a Vaishnava is asking our help with something, and if we don't put ourselves forward and do that, then we're not actually serving that particular Vaishnava. So whenever any service opportunity comes, we should immediately grab it and get the blessings of the Vaishnava. But along with that, we should maintain proper humble consciousness, like Mahaprabhu is doing. He's answering Sanatana Goswami's question, but he's doing it in proper consciousness. He's not thinking that, okay, I am the great, and now you listen, you're subordinate to me. I am the great Acharya, and now I'm going to give you 64 explanations. You sit and listen very carefully. No, what is Mahaprabhu's mood? He is saying, okay, I will serve you, I will fulfill your request, but I understand that on my own strength, I cannot do the service for you. But by the strength of your good Vaishnava association, it is my hope that I'll be empowered to do the service for your pleasure, to do the service for your benefit. So this is Mahaprabhu's mood and consciousness. So that same mood we need to try and cultivate and carry with us throughout our spiritual life, because this will come to us every day in, day out. Okay, so now Mahaprabhu will start giving explanations, the different, explaining the meaning of this famous Atma Rama verse. Text number 10. There are 11 clear words in this verse, but when they are studied separately, various meanings glitter from each word. So this particular sloka of the Bhagavatam has 11 different words. So now before giving the 64 different explanations of this whole sloka, what Mahaprabhu will do, he will analyze word by word. Just like at the start of every Bhagavatam class, we go through the word-for-word translation. Okay, Brahma Uvacha means Brahma said. Then we go, this word means that. So in all of Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada gives a word-for-word translation. He will give one word meaning for each Sanskrit word. So before giving the full 64 different explanations of this Atma Rama verse, what Mahaprabhu will do, he will break up every single word of this sloka. So there, Mahaprabhu is explaining here that in this sloka there is 11 different words being used in this particular sloka. And Mahaprabhu will give word-to-word meaning for each of these different words. And generally, we just get one word meaning, right? So a particular, like in Bhagavatam, when we study in the morning, during Bhagavatam class, for one particular Sanskrit word, we'll get one meaning. Then for the second Sanskrit word in the sloka, we'll get another meaning. But in this particular case, Mahaprabhu will give many different meanings for the same Sanskrit word. So there's 11 different Sanskrit words in this particular sloka, And for each of these different Sanskrit words, Mahaprabhu will not only give one meaning, but he will give multiple meanings. Then, combining all those multiple meanings of all of those 11 words, Mahaprabhu will combine them in different ways and will give 64 different meanings. So that's how Mahaprabhu will answer Srila Sanatana Goswami's question. So in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining the 11 separate words of this particular sloka are: number 1, Atma Rama; number 2, Cha; number 3, Munaya; number 4, Nirgranta; number 5, Api; number 6, Urukrame; number 7, Kurvanti; number 8, Ahutukam; number 9, Bhaktim; number 10, Itam Bhuta Guna; and number 11, Hari. So these are the 11 different Sanskrit words in this sloka. Now Mahaprabhu will give multiple different meanings for each of these words. So generally, we'll just get one word meaning. Like Atma Rama means self-satisfied, Cha means and, like that. But Mahaprabhu will give multiple different meanings. Then after giving multiple different meanings for all of these 11 words in this sloka, Mahaprabhu will give the 64 different explanations of the full verse. Okay, so now we'll go to text 11. The 7 different meanings of the word Atma are the absolute truth, the body, the mind, endeavor, firmness, intelligence, and nature. So now Mahaprabhu is giving the different meanings that the first word could have. So the first word of the Atma Rama verse, it starts Atma Ramas Cha Munayo. So what does the word Atma mean? Mahaprabhu is saying there are 7 different meanings of the word Atma. So one is, Atma can refer to the absolute truth, it can refer to the body, it can refer to the mind, it can refer to endeavor, firmness, intelligence, and nature. Text 12. The following are synonyms of the word Atma: the body, mind, absolute truth, natural characteristics, firmness, intelligence, and endeavor. So Mahaprabhu is quoting a verse from a particular Shastra, which is backing up what he's saying. Text 13. The word Atma Rama refers to one who enjoys these 7 items, namely the absolute truth, body, mind, and so on. Later I shall enumerate the Atma Ramas. So Mahaprabhu is saying the word Atma can have these 7 meanings, and Atma Rama means one who enjoys one of these 7 different things. Text number 14. My dear Sanatan, first hear the meanings of the other words beginning with the word Muni. I shall first explain their separate meanings, then combine them. So as we were explaining before, Mahaprabhu is first going to give multiple meanings for each of the individual words, then he's going to combine them and give the full meaning. So now Mahaprabhu will explain the different meanings of the word Muni. We many times come across this word Muni. So what does Muni mean? Mahaprabhu will explain now. Text 15. The word Muni refers to one who is thoughtful, one who is grave or silent, an ascetic, one who keeps great vows, one in the renounced order, and a saint. These are the different meanings of the word Muni. So Muni can refer to any one of these different meanings. Someone who's thoughtful, who's very inquisitive, always thinking, very philosophical, he can be considered as a Muni. Someone who's very grave and silent, doesn't talk much, is very sober, he can be considered as a Muni. Someone who takes great vows, he can be considered a Muni. Someone in the renounced order or a saint, he can also be considered as a Muni. These are the different meanings of the word Muni. Text number 16. The word Nirgranta refers to one who is liberated from the material knots of ignorance. It also refers to one who is devoid of all regulatory principles enjoined in the Vedic literature. It also refers to one who does not have any knowledge. So now Mahaprabhu is explaining what's Nirgranta. Nirgranta means, can either mean one who is liberated from mature existence, ignorance, or it can mean one who is devoid of all regulated principles mentioned in the Shastras, or it can refer to one who doesn't have any knowledge at all. Text 17. Nirgranta also refers to one who is illiterate, low-born, misbehaved, unregulated, and devoid of respect for the Vedic literature. The word also refers to one who is a capitalist and to one who has no riches. So further meanings of the word Nirgranta. Text 18. So now Mahaprabhu is quoting a sloka from Visva Prakasha Dictionary. The prefix ni may be used for a sense of ascertainment, gradation, construction, or forbidding. The word granta means riches, thesis, and composition. So while going through all of these different things, we can appreciate, how complicated Sanskrit is, and how big of a task it is to translate the Shastras and to give the meanings. So Prabhupada had a mammoth task in translating, 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, and I don't know how many verses are there in Caitanya Caritamrta, even more. And Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu summarizing. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, His Holiness Bhanu Maharaj, he's released that whole book, and it's like big, thick books, multi-volume books. And such a big, thick literature, Prabhupada summarized in just one small book, Nectar of Devotion. So to do that, again, it requires so much expertise. So from this we can understand, actually Sanskrit, to translate is actually a great task. Because as we're seeing from here, that many words, Sanskrit words, can have multiple different meanings. You can interpret in different ways, you can have multiple different meanings, and sometimes it can be very, complicated. But Prabhupada, at such an advanced age, he translated so many verses of the Shastra and gave so many beautiful books. Okay, text number 19. The word Urukrama refers to one who is krama. The word Urukrama refers to one whose krama or step is great. The word krama means throwing the foot forward, that is stepping. So Urukrama, if you remember, that's also another name for Lord Vamanadev. Because Lord Vamanadev, with his step, he covered the whole universe. So Mahaprabhu is explaining the word Urukrama refers to one whose krama. So krama means step, and Uru means great. So one whose step is very great. Or one who is throwing the foot forward. Text number 20. Krama also means power, trembling, a systematic method, argument, and a forcible attack by stepping forward. Thus, Vamana caused the three worlds to tremble. Text number 21. Even if a learned man is able to count all the minute atoms in this mature world, he still cannot count the potencies of Lord Vishnu. In the form of the Vamana incarnation, Lord Vishnu, without hindrance, captured all the planets, extending from the root of the mature world up to Satyaloka. Indeed, he caused every planetary system to tremble by the force of his steps. So this is a verse quoted in the second canto of Bhagavatam, explaining about the pastimes of Lord Vamanadev. Text 22, through his all-pervasive feature, the Supreme Personality Godhead has expanded the entire creation. He is holding and maintaining this creation by his extraordinary potency. By his conjugal potency, he maintains the planetary system known as Goloka Vrindavan. Through his 6 opulences, he maintains many Vaikuntha planets. Text 23, the word Urukrama indicates the Supreme Personality Godhead, who by his external potency has perfectly created innumerable universes. 24, these are the different meanings of the word krama. It is used in the sense of potency, systematic arrangement, step, moving, or trembling. Text 25, now Mahaprabhu will give the meanings of the word kurvanti. The word kurvanti means they do something for others, since it is a form of the verb to do, indicating things done for others. It is used in connection with devotional service, which must be executed for the satisfaction of Krishna. That is the purport of the word kurvanti. So the meaning of the word kurvanti means we do something in connection with devotional service, we do something for Krishna for the satisfaction of Krishna. So any service we do, the KPI, like in work we have this term called KPI, Key Performance Indicators, by which your employees or your boss, they judge you. Based on these key performance indicators, they judge whether you've done, how successfully you're doing your job properly. So in Bhakti, there's also key performance indicators. And what is that? And the Bhagavatam explains that the key performance indicators in Bhakti to judge whether we're doing our service nicely or not is whether Krishna is being satisfied, is if Krishna is getting pleasure. And how do we know if Krishna is getting pleasure? How do we know if Krishna is satisfied by our service? That we know from the spiritual master, the Guru, or the Vaishnavas, who act as representatives of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. So if Guru is satisfied, if our authorities, our mentors, if the Vaishnavas are satisfied, then we can take it that Krishna is satisfied. And if Krishna and the Vaishnavas and our spiritual masters are satisfied with our service, then whatever service we did, okay, we get full marks for that. We're doing everything nicely. Although externally, materially speaking, we might have failed. Still, even though we might have externally speaking failed in a particular service, according to our own conception, still if the Guru is pleased with our service, if the Vaishnavas are pleased by our efforts and endeavors, then Krishna is pleased. In that sense, although externally it seems that we failed in something, actually we haven't, because Krishna is satisfied. So in Bhakti, we judge whether we're doing something good or bad by the satisfaction of Guru and Krishna. Classical example is that of Jatayu. Jatayu, he had the task of saving Mother Sita by rescuing Mother Sita from the clutches of Ravana. And he tried, but he failed. So externally, it seems that Jatayu failed in the particular service which he was doing. He was trying to rescue Mother Sita from the clutches of Ravana. He tried, but he failed. So externally, it looks like this devotee, he failed in the service. But actually, he didn't fail. Actually, his service was done to perfection. Why? Because Krishna was satisfied by his service. Lord Ramachandra, he was satisfied by his bravery, by his heroism, by his sincerity in trying to rescue Mother Sita. Even though he was so old and invalid, still, even though Ravana was so much more powerful, still Jatayu, as a heroic warrior, still tried his best to rescue Mother Sita from Ravana. And Lord Ramachandra was so pleased with his service, Lord Ramachandra himself did the final rites for his pure devotee. So in this case, externally, materially speaking, it seems that this devotee, he failed in his service. But Krishna is satisfied by that service. And because Krishna is satisfied by that service, this devotee was successful in his endeavor. So many times in our devotional life, we'll be given some service and externally we'll feel that actually I didn't do such a good job, actually I didn't do as well as I should have, or I didn't get the result which I wanted. And internally we might feel that, okay, we didn't do so great. But still, if the other Vaishnavas are happy by our efforts, by our sincere endeavor, if Guru is satisfied, then we can take it that Krishna is also satisfied and our service is successful. And on the other hand, the opposite is also true. Externally speaking, we might be getting a lot of achievements, doing a lot of amazing things. But if it's not pleasing to Guru, if it's not pleasing to the Vaishnavas, then although externally it seems that we're being very successful, we're getting a lot of accomplishments, because it's not satisfying to the Vaishnavas, not satisfying Guru, actually we're a failure in that particular service. So in Bhakti, we judge whether we're doing good or bad by the satisfaction and pleasure of the Guru and the Vaishnavas. If the Gurus and the Vaishnavas are pleased by our service, then Krishna is pleased also with our service, then that is the KPI or the key performance indicator by which we can judge whether we're making advancement, whether our service is proper. Okay, so that is the meaning of the word kurvanti. Text number 26. Determination of the Atmane Pada. The terminations of the Atmane Pada are employed when the fruit of the action occurs to the agent of verbs having an indicatory N or a Savitra accent. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, this is a quotation of Painini's Sutras 1372. So I'm guessing this is some Sanskrit dictionary which talks about how you understand Sanskrit. So again, from this we can appreciate how complicated Sanskrit actually is and how big of a task it is to properly translate it. Text number 27. Now Mahaprabhu will give the meaning of the word ahutaki. The word hetu or cause means that a thing is done for some motive. There can be three motives. One may act to enjoy the result personally, to achieve some material perfection, or to attain liberation. So the word hetu can have three meanings. One is to personally enjoy the results, to achieve some material perfection, or to attain liberation. Text 28. First, we take the word bhakti, or mature enjoyment, which is of unlimited variety. We may also take the word siddhi, perfection, which has 18 varieties. Similarly, the word mukti has 5 varieties. Text 29. Causeless devotional service is unmotivated by sense enjoyment, perfection, or liberation. When one is freed from all of these contaminations, he can bring Lord Krishna, who is very funny, under control. So to bring Krishna under our control, Mahaprabhu is explaining there's only one way, and that is we have to do causeless devotional service, which is unmotivated by 3 things. So our bhakti has to be free from any desire for mature enjoyment, any desire for material perfections, mystic siddhis, so on and so forth. And also our bhakti should be devoid of any desire for liberation. So Mahaprabhu is saying, even if you're doing bhakti with the mood, okay, if I worship Krishna, if I do this service nicely, then I will get liberation. At the end of this lifetime, I'll go, attain one of the 5 types of liberation. Mahaprabhu is saying, even this desire can't be considered as pure bhakti. If you want to do pure, causeless devotional service, then we have to be free from even the desire of liberation. If our heart is completely free from all desires for sense gratification, all desires for mature perfections, and all desires for mukti also, then we can bring Krishna under our control. Then Krishna, he becomes sold out by the strength of our love or devotion. Text number 30. Now Mahaprabhu will give different explanations of the word bhakti. There are 10 meanings for the word bhakti, devotional service. One is sadhana bhakti, execution of devotional service according to the regulatory principles. And the other 9 are varieties of prema bhakti, ecstatic love of Godhead. Okay, so now in explaining the word bhakti, Mahaprabhu is explaining that bhakti can have 10 different meanings. The first meaning of bhakti, when the word bhakti is used, it can refer to sadhana bhakti, which we're all practicing now. Sadhana bhakti means doing bhakti based on rules and regulations, following all the injunctions shastras, strictly following all the rules and regulations. So that's one meaning that bhakti can refer to. The other 9 meanings Mahaprabhu is explaining are all different varieties of prema bhakti. So if you remember the previous chapter, chapter 23, Mahaprabhu was explaining about the different symptoms of bhava and the different symptoms of prema bhakti. So as we know, the different stages of bhakti, shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishta, ruchi, asakti, then bhava, and then prema. Now these are the 9 different stages of devotional service, but inside some of these stages, there are even more sub-stages. So although we explain, okay, these are the 9 different stages, and prema is at the top, but even in the stage of prema, there are different levels of prema. So that was explained in the previous chapter. So although prema is the topmost level of bhakti, even inside the category of prema, there are 9 different stages. So that Mahaprabhu explained in the previous chapter. So in this context, bhakti, Mahaprabhu is explaining, can either refer to sadhana bhakti, or it can refer to bhakti in one of these 9 different stages of prema bhakti. So what are these 9 different stages of prema bhakti? Prabhupada in the purport, he is explaining this. The 9 varieties of prema bhakti are rati. So the first level of prema bhakti is rati. Then higher than rati is prema. Higher than prema is sneha. Higher than sneha is mana. Higher than mana is pranaya. Higher than pranaya is raga. Higher than raga is anuraga. Then higher than anuraga is bhava. Then higher than bhava is mahabhava. So this term mahabhava, we've probably all heard before in Prabhupada's books, especially in reference to Srimati Radharani, how Srimati Radharani was displaying mahabhava. So in the 9th stage of devotional service, prema bhakti, there are further 9 different levels in prema bhakti, starting from rati, going all the way to mahabhava. And now Mahaprabhu will explain how certain devotees, based on their particular relationship with Krishna, they can reach a particular level of prema, of one of these different levels of Prema Bhakti. So there's 5 different relationships we can have with Krishna. Sanchya Rasa, Dasa Rasa, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya Rasa, a conjugal relationship. Based on what particular relationship you have with Krishna, based on that you can reach a certain level of one of these 9 different levels of Prema Bhakti. Okay, this Mahaprabhu will explain now. Text number 31. Next are explained the symptoms of love of Godhead, which can be divided into 9 varieties, beginning with attraction and extending up to ecstatic love, and finally up to the topmost ecstatic love, Mahabhava. Text 32. The attraction to Krishna of devotees on the platform of neutrality increases up to love of Godhead, Prema, and the attraction of devotees on the platform of servitorship increases to spontaneous attachment, Raga. So if we go back again, the different stages of Krishna Prema are, at the bottom we have Rati, then Prema, then Sneha, Mana, so on and so forth, onto Mahabhava. So the first stage is Rati, second stage is Prema. So those who are associating with Krishna on the platform of neutrality, or Santaras. So if a particular devotee is in Santaras, he can only increase his love to the stage of Prema. And one who is in relationship with Krishna in Dasya Bhav, in Dasya Ras, he can increase his spontaneous love to the stage, to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to the 6th stage of Raga. So there's 9 different stages in Prema Bhakti itself. And if someone is in Santaras, he can only go up to the 2nd stage of Prema Bhakti. But if someone is in Dasya Ras, he can go, his love can increase all the way till the 6th stage of Prema Bhakti. Then Mahaprabhu will explain in the next text, devotees in Vrindavan who are friends of the Lord can increase their ecstatic love to the point of Anuraga. Anuraga is the 7th stage of Prema Bhakti. So if you're in Dasya Ras, you can go up to the 6th level of Prema Bhakti. If you're in Sakya Ras, if you're one of Krishna's Kahod boyfriends, mates, on an equal level, you can go up to the 7th stage. And same is true for those in parental affection. Those who are parental affectionate lovers, Krishna's father and mother, can increase the love of Godhead also up to the end of Anuraga, to the 7th stage. Then text 34, the gopis of Vrindavan who are attached to Krishna in conjugal love can increase their ecstatic love up to the point of Mahabhava, the greatest ecstatic love. These are some of the glorious meanings of the word Bhakti. So the last 2 stages, the 2 highest levels of Krishna Prema, which is Bhava and Mahabhava, those 2 stages are only demonstrated by the gopis of Vrindavan, those who are in Madhurya Ras. So those who are in relationship with Krishna in conjugal Ras, their ecstatic love can increase all the way to the topmost levels of Prema Bhakti, which is Bhava and Mahabhava. For Dasya, you can go up to the 6th level. For Sakya and Vatsalya, you can go up to the 8th level, but to the 7th level. But for 8 and 9, the last 2 stages, only the gopis of Vrindavan, their love goes to that degree. Text number 35. Please hear the meanings of the word Itam Bhuta Gana, which is found in the Atma Rama verse. Itam Bhuta has different meanings, and Guna has other meanings. Okay, now Mahaprabhu is giving the explanation of the word Itam Bhuta. The word Itam Bhuta is transcendentally exalted because it means full of transcendental bliss. Before this transcendental bliss, the bliss derived from merging into the existence of the absolute Brahmananda becomes like a piece of straw in comparison. Text number 37. My dear Lord, O Master of the universe, since I have directly seen you, my transcendental bliss has taken the shape of a great ocean. Being situated in that ocean, I now realize all other so-called happiness to be like the water contained in the hoofprint of a calf. Text 38. Lord Krishna is so exalted that he is more attractive than anything else and more pleasing than anything else. He is the most sublime abode of bliss. By his own strength, he causes one to forget all other ecstasies. So Krishna's beauty, his transcendental pastimes, they're so attractive, they're so enlivening, they're so intoxicating that one completely forgets his lower taste for sense gratification. He completely forgets all of his mature desires. Just like ordinarily speaking, when someone goes into the pub, takes many different bottles of beer or so on and so forth, then he becomes intoxicated. And when someone becomes intoxicated on alcohol, what happens? They forget everything. They forget about their life, what's happening around them, and they go into a state of forgetfulness. So in the same way, Krishna Katha has a similar effect. Krishna's beauty has a similar effect. The sound of Krishna's transcendental flute, the sound of the Maha Mantra, all of these different ways we can connect with Krishna, all have an intoxicating effect on devotees. So just like when someone goes into a pub, gets intoxicated by alcohol, they forget about themselves, they forget about what's happening in life, and they go into a state of forgetfulness. In the same way the Shastras explain, when we take to Bhakti, and when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, we become intoxicated by the kirtan. When we become intoxicated by Bhagavatam, when we get intoxicated by the beauty of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, in a similar way, by the intoxicating effect of Krishna, we'll also forget. What will we forget? We'll forget all of our mature desires, our mature attachments, so on and so forth. So this is the way Bhagavatam explains. The Shastra explains how we can overcome all of these mature desires and anarthas, which sometimes seem so powerful and so difficult to cross. It seems like, our heart is just full of them and it's just very impossible. But the more higher taste we cultivate, the more we become attracted to Krishna's holy name, His pastimes, His transcendental beauty, and the more we drink in the nectar. Just like in the pub, the more the guy in the pub, he drinks the alcohol, the more and more intoxicated he'll become. So the more we engage in Krishna Kirtan, the more we take darshan of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, and the more we study Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya Caritamrta, the more and more intoxicated we'll become by Krishna's holy name, by Krishna's pastimes, by Krishna's beauty. And just like in the pub, the more intoxicated one becomes, the more he forgets. In the same way, the more intoxicated one becomes in Krishna Katha, in Krishna's beauty, the more he'll forget all of his anarthas, his mature desires, so on and so forth. Until finally one day, our heart will be fully clean and will be completely pure, then Krishna will come, manifest himself in our pure hearts. Okay, text number 38. Krishna is so exalted that he is more attractive than anything else and more pleasing than anything else. He is the most sublime abode of bliss. By his own strength, he causes one to forget all other ecstasies. 39. Pure devotional service is so sublime that one can very easily forget the happiness derived from mature enjoyment, mature liberation, and mystic or yogic perfection. Thus the devotee is bound by Krishna's mercy and his uncommon power and qualities. Text 40. When one is attracted to Krishna on the transcendental platform, there is no longer any logical argument on the basis of revealed scripture, nor are there considerations of such conclusions. This is his transcendental quality, that is the essence of all transcendental sweetness. 41. The word guna means quality. The qualities of Krishna are transcendentally situated and are unlimited in quantity. All of the spiritual qualities are full of transcendental bliss. 42. Krishna's transcendental qualities of opulence, sweetness, and mercy are perfect and full. As far as Krishna's affectionate leaning towards his devotees is concerned, he is so magnanimous that he can give himself to his devotees. 43. Krishna has unlimited qualities. The devotees are attracted by his uncommon beauty, mellows, and fragrance. Thus, they are differently situated in the different transcendental mellows. Therefore, Krishna is called all attractive. So Krishna has unlimited amazing qualities, and Krishna's unlimited devotees, they get attracted by different qualities of Krishna. So every jiva is an individual, and Krishna has unlimited amazing qualities, and different jivas, they get attracted by a particular quality or particular qualities, transcendental qualities of Krishna. And that is why Krishna is called all attractive. 44. The minds of the four boy sages, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar were attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna by the aroma of the tulsi that had been offered to the Lord. Okay, we'll stop here. The rest we can continue tomorrow. Yes, sir. Okay, pastimes of Srimati Radharani displaying cunning. I haven't read so many pastimes of Srimati Radharani, so nothing is coming to mind, but maybe if you read Nectar of Devotion, in Nectar of Devotion there are many pastimes of Srimati Radharani giving, so maybe you might be able to find some reference there, but yeah, otherwise I can't think of particular example. You had something to say? Okay. Any comments or questions by anyone? Okay. Thank you very much. Shri Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai, Jagurusha Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.